Here we go. The win against LSU gives Oklahoma a 10-2 season. Brent Venables making a statement.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the number one sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase over at Game Time. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire at USA Today Sports. And on today's show, the SEC coaching carousel takes dramatic turns. We'll talk about where Oklahoma landed in the latest coaches and AP top 25. But we got to start here, Jay. Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners did what very few people believe they could actually do in 2025. And they put themselves in a position to make the college football playoff with a 10-2 record.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that happens, right? We talked about this going into the season, that there wasn't a single game on the schedule we didn't feel like Oklahoma had a chance of winning. And truth be told, it looked like that for the most part. You know, you had opportunities against Ole Miss. You just didn't close in those circumstances. Texas, the first half, you're up 3-0, and the game looked like you actually had a shot, and you just didn't close on it. So you had a lot of those opportunities, and then every other game, guess what you did? You won them. So I'm hoping Sooner Nation is actually enjoying this time, just taking it all in, enjoying the fact that your team did this. Your team went out with arguably the toughest schedule in college football, you know, up there, at least in the top 5. And they won 10 of the games. That's hard to do when you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback, a whole new system, and you're really leaning so heavily on the defense. And you got that. John Mateer had one of his quote-unquote better and bad games all in one. It was all jumbled into one little ball. You got 3 interceptions out of them, so you're losing your mind, but you got 2 tackles out of them because they were hustle plays to get out there and stop pick sixes. And then he went out there and threw for over 300 yards. John, did you know this? That LSU only gave up 300 yards to one other quarterback in this season? That was Trinidad Chambliss. So John Mateer, Trinidad Chambliss are the only 2 quarterbacks that threw for over 300 yards against LSU. That is saying something. And I hope we recognize, go ahead and complain, get your complaints out. But realize one thing, John. I hope that they realize this. We're freaking 10-2, man. We're going to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's fun because at Oklahoma, you understand the expectation, and you understand the expectation for offensive football in particular, being that we're a school that has 7 Heisman Trophy winners, a number of number 1 overall draft picks at quarterback, some of the best quarterback play over the last 25 years. We're quarterback university. So I get that the expectations are incredibly high for offensive football and quarterback play at the University of Oklahoma.
Yep.
And yet you have a 10-2 football team. And yet your quarterback was able to bounce back from 3 interceptions, from back-to-back interceptions on back-to-back drives. I talked about it in the live show, like that first interception. Okay, tip passes, they get intercepted from time to time. Yes, you'd like that not to happen, but that's not like the quarterback made a bad throw. That's like, hey, the defender made a good play and capitalized on it. The other 2, okay, we can have some discussion about should John Mateer have thrown those balls? Were they good balls? That's another discussion. But your quarterback bounced back. He showed resiliency. He was playing good ball for the most part, right? He was making some really good throws, making on-time throws, making accurate throws. Did he have some that he would like to have back? 100%. He absolutely would. But your quarterback did what winning required. And this is what Brent Venables has established with this program is, hey, you can have a 3 interception game and you can overcome that and get a win. you might have been able to do that against Texas were it not for a punt return touchdown. That's what Brent Venables has established, is a never say die, quote unquote, hard to kill mentality that this team believes they can win any game regardless of how they're playing in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. They can go win games.
Yeah, they've proven that they can do it. They prove they can close. And I don't think people understand the value of quote unquote survival sometimes in these games, because when you get to the point where the game's getting tough, it's down to the wire and you need to find a way to execute, get those extra 2 yards at 3 yards. How do you execute on that if you've never dealt with it? We've basically dealt with it all season. So we're kind of accustomed to this.
Yep.
And remember, the last time Oklahoma won a national championship, they won the game 13-2. So if you play it right, I mean, one of the games that was considered game of the century was LSU versus Alabama, and it was 9-6. Then Alabama played them the second time, and it was 21-0. So those defensive battles do exist, and there's nothing wrong with them. Offensively, we've shown we can compete. We've shown that we can get the points we need to on that. But to the point on the interceptions, though, how many interceptions you think LSU has this season now, John?
It was like 18 is the number I heard. Like
17 interceptions this season. You take away the 3 they got against us, that's 14. That's still number 1 in the SEC.
Yeah.
They are a ball-hawking, athletic secondary. They're very good at that. Yeah. That is their thing. They average a pick a game at minimum. They are very consistent when it comes to that. So the one thing I noticed about John as the game was going on, we'll say Mateer here since we have a John in front of us. The thing I noticed about Mateer, though, John, is that when we started getting into tempo, you started to notice he was getting into a groove. Mm-hmm. He was just wheeling and dealing, boom, boom, boom. But then he put a little too much dip on his chip, and he threw that pass a little too tight, which I hate to say I warned y'all, but I warned y'all.
Give it a shoot, man.
That was the thing, dog. That was the thing I said, y'all. I told y'all John was probably going to get his 10 interceptions this season because he's a gunslinger. He's going to do it. I hate the fact that he didn't prove me wrong by throwing 3 interceptions in this game to get to 10. Mm-hmm. He could have finished with 7 or 8. I would have been wrong. No, he made me right. 10 interceptions was my prediction for him for the season, but
we just anticipated him throwing for far more touchdowns than he threw.
Right. He got 12. 2,500 yards, which is like 7th in the conference. So, but the thing is he started to try to throw the needle through the thread through the needle. He was trying to hit those tight spots, and he shouldn't have, and especially against this secondary, he got a little too comfortable. And so, but then you also had wide receivers that couldn't catch. Like you get these drop passes when they're right there. But there was a couple of plays that did jump out to me, and I've mentioned this before, and this was kind of fascinating. One that got me, John, was that drop by Giovanni Gibson with the ref there. I had been asking myself most of this season, because it was something I noticed that other teams do to us. Whenever they run those drag routes or crossers across the middle of the field, they always run the route to where their wide receiver kind of rubs the ref. So when the ball's thrown, our guys are trying to figure out how to get around the ref to go defend it. So they're wide open. So if you wonder how they're so wide open, that's why in the middle. They use that a lot. So why don't we do that? Then I saw why. Yeah. Because we did it and then we don't catch the ball. Right. But at the same time, we made it work in other ways. The other one was busted plays. John, I've never understood. We don't ever get no busted plays, man. Why can't we get no busted plays? Guess what? We got that big old busted play. But that was because of tempo. When you go back and watch the film, he hits Kanik on 2 straight plays. After he hits Kanik, you start to see, oh, he's getting a groove, but LSU's not prepared for it. So Harold Perkins gives us the matchup we were hoping for, John. Perkins versus Satania. And we all knew it was going to happen in that one. We won it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and when you've got a guy like Isaiah Satania, he's the kind of player that can create wide open looks like that, given the right matchup. And so this is just one of those teams, like, listen, it's not perfect, but you can enjoy this because even though it's not perfect, you went 10-2. And I think that speaks to what we were talking about at the beginning of the segment, that Brent Venables has done a great job coaching this team this year. He's put them in a really good position to win a lot of games.
Yep.
And I think that is a testament to the culture that he's built, the foundation, the program, all of it. It doesn't happen unless you've got a tough, resilient football team. And that's what Brent Venables has created. The Oklahoma Sooners, where are they at in the latest polls? What does it mean for their college football playoff hopes? We'll discuss coming up next year on Locked On Sooners. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why Game Time is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You can pull up the app and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views, pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. And that seat view, man, that is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets at every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go Game Time. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners in the latest polls, where they at?
Where they at? All right, the polls basically ain't changed for Oklahoma. It's the same. You're going to get Oklahoma here at the number 8 spot. It's not going to be any different for the AP poll. Same thing for the coaches poll. Really, the biggest change was because Texas A&M lost to Texas, they dropped. But because it was their first loss of the season, they don't fall behind anybody with 2 losses. They automatically fell to number 7, which shifted 3, 4, 5, and 6 up in that one. And so that didn't really do much for us. Now, Missouri is ranked, so that kind of helps us with giving us another team that we beat that's in the rankings in the AP poll, and in the coaches poll, Tennessee is that team. So you kind of get a combination of teams that, you know, you played against that you kind of could use good for the resume. They pop back up into the rankings.
Yeah, the resume is good. I'm not going to sit here and say or let anybody say that Oklahoma has an okay resume. No, they've got a really good resume. Remember what the discussion was at the beginning of the season about teams like Auburn. Like a lot of people projected them as a top 15 team in the country. You got them. Michigan, they're a top 25 team. Tennessee was a top 25 team for a lot of the season. And in some instances, some cases, they're still considered a top 25 team. Missouri, they have been a consistent team over the last couple of years. You beat them. So any shade that anybody wants to try to throw at Oklahoma because Missouri dropped out of the top 25 and then bounced back in, or Tennessee dropped out, they'll be back because LSU didn't meet expectations. I'm sorry. That's not Oklahoma's fault. They took care of business and won the games they needed to win. They beat Alabama. They were 1 score away from, hanging with Ole Miss. They beat Tennessee on their field. They did everything you asked them to do against a tough schedule. And now they're 10-2 and right where they need to be to host a playoff game. But I loved Brent Venables' comments after the game when asked about the potential to host a playoff game. He's like, I don't know what's going to go into all of that, but we'll be ready wherever they ask us to play football. Love that.
Our goal is just to play. And, people have asked him the question of, well, do you think Oklahoma should be rated up higher or something? And he's like, well, we had the opportunity to win games and we didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we are where we belong because we need to control our controllables.
Yep.
And he's right. Oklahoma is in the spot where they should be. They have at the time that they played these teams, they have beat 5 teams that were ranked in the AP top 25 at some point. And so like right now, you've got 3 teams in the AP top 25 that you have beaten in Missouri, Michigan, as well as Bama. And your 2 losses are to number 14 Texas, which is right behind you, and then number 5 Ole Miss, which they don't have a coach right now. But that doesn't matter. What matters today is when you did play them, they had a coach and things went the way they went. So, again, like we said in the first segment, when you looked at the schedule, everyone told us how much of a gauntlet it was, and we tried to remind you, I don't think it's going to be as tough as y'all think it is. Besides that point, that I told you so. Really was, we didn't see a single game on there where Oklahoma was definitely going to lose. Like they were outclassed, outmatched. There was no way they had a chance. They had a chance in every single game. Falling apart in the second half or being down a score late in the fourth quarter and then giving up another score to make it 2 scores does not mean you weren't in that game. You were in that game.
Yep.
That is the thing to keep in mind in all of these. Oklahoma showed that they have the option. Now, all I got to do is tighten things up. See, the good thing for us is, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season, we're on the Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, Tim Beck timeline. Year 1 with them, they made a massive jump for what they were doing there at Vanderbilt. Went 7-6, went to a bowl game, looked really good. This year, they're 10-2. So luckily for us, John Material walks in, we start 10-2. Because all we said is we needed was a competent offense, right, John? That was the one thing we both said. You said it all the time. If we had a competent offense last year, we probably win 8 to 10 games. Because there's so many games that could have swung our direction just because we kept turning the ball over at the wrong times or we just got stalled at the wrong times. We have that. It's competent. It's in the middle of the road of the country, so it's not the greatest. It's competent, though. Going for 300 yards against this defense is competent. I don't care.
And what's crazy is your defense did improve after losing Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, Ethan Downs, Dejon Terry, Woody Washington. You lost some key pieces from your defense, and it got better. Like there were a lot of people, and even you could say sunshine pumpers, a lot of positive discussion about Oklahoma's defense getting better going into this year, and I was hopeful that it would be the case, but it was hard to ignore the losses of Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman. Those guys were difference makers. Ethan Downs was a difference maker on this team. It was hard to ignore that. I was still kind of in the, I hope so. We'll see. And then lo and behold, they were significantly better than what they were a year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago, the defense was good, but they weren't good enough to get you stops time after time after time after time when your offense wasn't really able to do anything. This defense carried you, and your offense found enough explosive plays to go win games, but the defense made it to where, hey, the offense, if you score 17, we're going to win. Sometimes if you score 13, we're going to have a great chance to win. So that's been what's been incredible is the offense got a little bit better. The defense got maybe more than a little bit. I don't want to say a lot, but I think they got a good amount better. And that was enough to push you into a 10-win team. And I think you still have an upward trajectory on both sides of the football. You can continue to get better. Having some offensive continuity going into 2026 is going to be huge. Having a lot of defensive continuity, even though you're going to lose guys like Marvin Jones Jr. and Dominic Williams and Grayson Halton and R. Mason Thomas along that defensive front, you're still going to have Jaden Jackson and David Stone and Danny Okoye and Taylor Wine and PJ Adebaware. Like, you still have a lot of dudes along that defensive front, and I bet they dip into the portal. So having all that continuity on both sides of the ball is going to be huge for the future, but it's been crazy to see that competent offense, but now there's a defense that can overcome the mistakes that the offense does make. Like the Billy Bowman interception, like, my goodness, like last year, like that's the reverse of what we saw in the Tennessee game.
Yes.
Robert Spears-Jennings gets the fumble of Nico Yamaliava, and then Jackson Arnold gives it back.
Yes.
John Mateer gives LSU an interception. They get it down on the 4-yard line. Peyton Bowen gets it back. Like, it's the reverse of what happened last year.
It's exactly what it is. It's crazy that we were able to just kind of flipped how bad things were going to us and flip it back to our direction. And that is just a testament of it's a skill. Winning is a skill.
Yeah.
Getting through the mud, being grimy like that is a skill. And this team showed it. The defense showed out. Like you said, it's funny when you look at how that was the major question a lot of people had for this team is, can they still play this style of defense and this level of excellence on defense when your leader in the middle, Danny Stutzman, gone, your ball hawk in the secondary, Billy Bowman, is gone. Your veteran edges, when they're gone, can you do that again? The guys that made it easy for R. Mason Thomas. Now, R. Mason Thomas is the hunted. Can he still do it? Still finish 6.5 sacks, in a touchdown before he he gets hurt. You got all of that because your offense was so competent. Your defense played less snaps to start the year than they had to the year before. I think they were down about half the snaps through like the first 6 games. They were playing a lot less ball in comparison, which is awesome. John, we gave up 198 yards in that game. That is the lowest in P4 that we had done this season, where South Carolina was the lowest at 224. But it's the first time we've held a team that is a P4 team under 200 yards since like Kansas.
And what's crazy is they held Michael Van Buren under 100 yards passing. That's
the wildest, because the team had 115 or something like that, but 113. But it was because of the trick play from the quarterback that threw to Bauer Sharp that first down. The wide receiver threw it to Bauer Sharp. If you don't have that, it's less than 100 yards in the game total in passing. Crazy. So as bad as y'all thought the game was going, it wasn't. It was just a slugfest. It was a little bit more grimy. The execution at the key times weren't there. They only had 2 conversions on third down, John. Mm-hmm. And I definitely we'll give praise to the offensive line on the next show.
Yeah, we got to dig into some more individual performances on our next show. We'll do that. Also, the college football playoff rankings are going to come out Tuesday night, and a lot of people have a lot to say about where Oklahoma stands and why they should not be a playoff team. And we'll have to dissect some of that as well ahead of the next playoff rankings, because Oklahoma is certainly in. We're not going to have a discussion unless you just understand that they're going to be in.
Yep.
But a lot of changes in the SEC after an offseason where there were no coaching changes. This year, there's a lot of coaching changes. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
The holidays always feel a little easier when you always know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks make it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending someone memorable to, families and friends, Omaha Steaks deliver handcrafted perfection right to the door. And this week is the best time to jump in because our cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. Like, I've ordered this for family and friends and sent it out as Christmas gifts because I like to provide an experience, and I also like food because I'm greedy, and that's how I live my life. And so my family gets theirs, and they pop them on the grill and send me pictures of the beauties that they get made. The quality is exactly what you hope for: incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weekend cooking even easier. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during Cyber Sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. And also, hey, shout out to y'all. We just had our best month ever. So that's a testament to you all. Thank you for riding with us every single day here on Locked On Sooners. We appreciate you guys so much. But Jay, man, the SEC coaching carousel has been crazy. Also, shout out to Brent Venables and this Oklahoma team that we don't have to be a part of it.
Oh my goodness. So we came into the season. We came into the season on the hot seat, right? Everybody told us that Brent Venables was getting fired from Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma gave him a vote of confidence by giving that contract extension in 23. And they said, no, we're going to give you your full 5 years. And me and you, John, I kept telling everybody, reminding them, no, understand. Brent Venables will get his 5 years. They're going to be respectful, and they're going to give him his 5 years. And Brent Venables has his 5 years. And what did we get out of it, John? Playoffs. What we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. Now the goal
two
here
10-win
next.
seasons.
Yeah, 2 10-win seasons and playoffs. And you got one in your second year in the SEC when everybody told you weren't going to be able to do that.
Or that you'd still never be able to win.
Right. Can't win there. You have an ownership stake 2 years in a row in the state of Alabama. I saw Kip Lewis's governor's home is already being renovated. It's got a big 10 on it and everything. It's beautiful. Not like the big 10, but a big number 10. So you get that double entendre, but I digress. The beauty of it is that the Sooners have done it, man. We've got ourselves in a situation where we ain't got to deal with all this craziness. So that Lane Kiffin stuff, bro, it's wild-ish. Like I've said this on the squad show, there's a few other places, but I have been always on the side of we need to have a calendar like the NFL to where when you have transfer portal, aka free agency, as well as signatures for recruits coming in early, you can have it lined up with also at a time when coaches are allowed to actually communicate with others. If you find out that coaches are out here getting contract negotiations, even though the agents can do it, they break that rule, something bad happens. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got to make it to where there's no communication until after the playoffs, because it's not fair to the players dealing with this. Now, granted, they probably wanted them gone, but yeah, it's still not fair to the players to have to deal with this.
No, it's garbage, man. Like, Lane Kiffin might be a really good coach. He might be. But it's hard to feel confident that he's going to be around. You know, he's going to go to LSU and he might have some early success there, but how long is he going to be there? You know, if you're a kid looking to go play for him, is he going to be there for the entire tenure of your career at that school? Who knows? The guy is a whisper in the wind. He is here today, gone tomorrow.
Yep.
And how long before some of the antics on social media and otherwise wear thin with an LSU fan base and administration staff and donor base that, listen, if you're Ole Miss, you go along to get along just because, hey, he's brought you as much success as you've ever had. But if you're LSU, I mean, they've had Les Miles and Ed Orgeron, and they kind of grew weary of those guys a little bit.
I don't think they want to remember that they had those guys, honestly. But yeah, agreed.
So, like, you know, how long is he going to be able to kind of play the good soldier and just go along with what they're looking for him to do? So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to get out of Lane Kiffin. If it's anything like what we've seen out of some of these other kind of big coaching transitions, whether it's Lincoln Riley to USC, whether it's Brian Kelly to LSU, Mario Cristobal to Miami, any other big ones.
Got 10 wins this year.
Yeah, but I mean, is it any more than what he did at Oregon? Like, it's just kind of all about the same.
Yeah, it's true.
And so, like, he hasn't taken a step. Lincoln Riley didn't take a step. Brian Kelly didn't take a step, leaving a high-profile program for another. Is Lane Kiffin automatically, like, destined to take a step? I don't think so. And
no.
The pressure is on. If he doesn't win a national championship, it's not going to be satisfactory. Like, you're at Ole Miss, you win 10 games, get you in the playoff discussion, that gets you an extension. You're at LSU, you missed the playoffs. Hey, we're looking at making a change.
Yeah. It's just crazy how all these changes are happening this year, the year that Brent Venables was supposed to have been on the hot seat. And so you got John Summerall headed to Auburn. The Auburn fired. It's like we're a part of a lot of people, quote unquote, getting themselves fired, except for the Brian Kelly one.
Or was it Golish to Auburn?
Golish to Auburn. Yes. Summerall to Florida. Lane to LSU. Ole Miss has kept Pete Golding.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Franklin Vitek. Golding is now the permanent coach there. I don't know who's the offensive coordinator going to be because it sounds like Charlie Weiss Jr. went ahead and left.
Trinidad Chambliss is going to be the offensive coordinator.
I know, right? He may as well at this point.
Just let him go, man. Let him play video game football.
Yeah, just let him just go out there and just play backyard ball.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how much Mark Stoops just got fired last night, late. He's the latest one. I wonder if Oklahoma will bring him in as an analyst.
I would. Hey, bring him in for an analyst for your playoff run and then just see what happens. Let's just put him out there. Let him and Kevin Wilson do some advanced scouting for you.
I mean, they know what they're doing. I mean, it's totally would be worth it. Get Bob and tell Bob, hey, well, see, if you bring in Mark, would you have to bring in Mike?
No.
Because Mike is on Mark's staff.
No. Not if he's an analyst.
But does it but
or not. It's fine. You can just let him go hang out. It's fine.
Probably let him hang. I mean, well, heck, he's about to get, $38 million over the next few years. But it's more of a I'm curious to if BV reaches out to have him come out. I mean, I could totally see him bringing Mike back too as an analyst. The fan base won't like it, but whatever.
Let's just say they don't need to add anybody as a defensive analyst. Their guys are doing a great job as it is. But, the guy knows football. Like, he knows ball. Mark Stoops probably had more success at Kentucky than they've ever had.
He's the winningest coach ever there.
So, there's something to be said for that. But anyway.
Oh, a lot to say. So Arkansas gets the Memphis coach that Memphis has been trying to get rid of for like the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, our guy John Neighbors over at Locked On Razorbacks is not happy about that move. Like everybody else likes their coaching hire in the SEC. Like Brandon Olson likes it for Florida. Zach Blackerby's liking the Golish hire for Auburn. John Neighbors is not happy about Silverfield going to Arkansas. Yeah.
It's bad.
Again, thank goodness. Like this Thanksgiving, we have a lot to be thankful for as Sooner fans. One of the things that you can be thankful for is that you did not have to be a part of this coaching carousel because it's a circus and not a lot of great names out there.
You got a break, guys. Congratulations.
Yeah.
We have to deal with it.
And even better, it's not just that, hey, Brent Venables coached us to an 8-win season and everybody's like cool with that. And it kind of puts off a year of this. No, you got a 10-win season in a year where you had arguably the toughest schedule in college football. And it's like, okay, the vision is here. The foundation is here. What they've been building for the previous 3 seasons came to fruition this season. And now you have something that you can continue to build upon because you have so many guys coming back and so much of this coaching staff coming back.
You got a good chance that you can make a legitimate run next season if you keep everything intact and you make the next leap that's expected with this OC and his quarterback. Because the crazy part is, too, keep this in mind that like one of the hardest things to do is get to double-digit wins. It's getting a little bit easier nowadays for other teams because of how scheduling is set up. But it's typically really hard to get from 8 to 9 and then from 9 to 10. Those are some thin margins you have to be able to hit on in order to be successful. We hit on every thin margin possible this year. Like we're riding all the thin margins, but it's become just a consistent skill set for us. We have sharpened ourselves to be prepared to be able to handle this stuff, and that is going to help us in the long run. Let's just put it that way. A lot of these dudes know how to handle the pressure of a tight game. You're not going to have people freaking out. Because I'll say this, knock on wood, John, the one thing I noticed the most is when the defense needs to really bear down or clamp down, we ain't busting plays. They're not really busting. They're finding a way to get that 3rd down out and that 4th down, and they close it. That is a testament of Brent Venables' play call. It's a testament of the players watching film and realizing what BV's asking for. It's a testament to everybody.
It's the LeBron meme, right? It's the I can't believe my life right now.
At all.
It's good. It's good. It's good to be a Sooner fan. Again, it's got to get better. We're not going to sit here and say it's perfect. We're not going to do that. But
I'm going to celebrate the fact that we're winning right now. I'll get
good.
to the non-sunshine pumping when I don't have a reason to sunshine pump. We 10-2.
We're 10-2.
When we were told we weren't going to get this far.
We're 10-2 with your quarterback throwing 3 interceptions.
Yep. That means that your team is really good.
It means
your quarterback really figures out how to not, how to bounce back.
Yep.
The bounce back was a lot bigger than anything else.
You lost the turnover battle in 2 of the 4 games that you played in November, and you still won all 4.
Shout out. Red November.
And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams, and we'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner.